All right, here we go. Mr. David Bradley from Cardone Solutions podcast. Available on Anchor and everywhere fine podcasts are heard.
That's
Always
right.
a delight to connect with you, my friend. We got to embrace, albeit very briefly, in Las Vegas. I feel like I need to add more context about this embrace, but I will just let people's imaginations go. We embraced in Vegas.
That's right.
Hey, so Wednesday Word. If you're new to the podcast and you're not familiar with the Wednesday Word, well, here you go. This is the Wednesday Word, and this is where Mr. David Bradley and I connect to discuss a word, the meaning, the etymology, how you can apply it to your career. Of course, you know that the whole purpose of the Dealer Playbook podcast is where we explore what it takes to create a thriving career in the retail auto industry. And of course, for those of you that are not in the retail auto industry, we love that you're here because this information is equally as valuable for whatever you want to do with your life.
I think the kids call that evergreen, Mr. Cirillo.
Ooh, evergreen. And from Canada, those evergreens are
Song, right?
abundant.
Babs. Doesn't Babs do a song called Evergreen?
Sure.
Streisand?
Oh, Babs. Yeah, I'm like, who? I was like, dude, I'm not down
Babs.
with the new. Yeah. What's the word today?
Today's word?
Yeah.
Is a very, very important word. And it is, here, I'll give you a quiz.
Okay.
It is the first step in the sales cycle. What do you think it is?
The first step in the sales cycle?
Yeah,
Getting your mind right.
correct. Today's word is attitude.
Ooh. Attitude.
Attitude.
Dude, that might be one of the most used phrases from me following Cardone that I've used with my team consistently over the last 4 or 5 years, which is you got to get your think straight.
You kind of sounded like Mick from Rocky when you did it that way.
You got to get your thing straight.
man.
Get your thing straight, Rock. Yeah. Come on, Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I have not hit the etymology of it yet, so we're going to discover that together. But when you hit the noun or just the word, the first definition is actually the arrangement of the parts of a body or figure. So I did a lot of theater in college and high school, and that included some dance and things like that. So in ballet, when you take strike a pose, Madonna, it's attitude, right? And so then you have a position assumed for a specific purpose, which I like, right?
Yeah.
And then they go into the ballet piece of it. But then the fourth definition is where we get relevant to what we're talking about today, which is a mental position with regard to a fact or state, a feeling or emotion toward a fact or state. So when we say it's the first step in a sales cycle, your attitude towards a fact or state, which is, hey, I got a customer. That's the first step, is deciding what your attitude, in this case, a feeling or emotion, is going to be towards that person. And since we do have emphasis on the car business, how many salespeople do we know or have we encountered over our careers that can spot bad credit from 200 yards away?
Yeah. Well, all of them. They're all pros at it.
That guy can't.
He can't buy a car. He's wearing a hoodie.
Right. And I learned that lesson very quickly. And fortunately, in my case, I won it in the best possible way. So in like my 5th or 6th month in the business, we were selling Acura at the time. All MDXs were full MSRP. Dude walks in, guy's in like flip-flops. His hair's disheveled. He looks like he's been on a 3-day bender, unshaved beard, tank top, running shorts from the 80s, right? And all the, quote unquote experienced guys were like, hey, go take that guy. Like, I'll take him. I'll take anybody. I'm new. I don't care. Right. So I roll over there. 6 hours later, the guy strokes a check for 2 MDXs. Turns out the guy's a kite manufacturer in Malibu. Oops. So, and the most important part of that process was just showing up with the right attitude.
Yeah.
Regardless of what his attitude has nothing to do with mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I just did an interview this morning, and the guy he's like, you got to treat every customer like you need, essentially you need to be able to over deliver for every customer. And I'm like, well, hold on. What's your definition of customer? Is it everybody? Is it tire kicker? Or is it just somebody that's expressed very specific interest? And he's like, everybody, everybody. And so that really resonates with what you're saying. And I love that the first step of the sales process is attitude. I mean, I was just before we hopped on, I'm getting messages from people. I posted something on Facebook that's triggering people's emotions a little bit about, oh man, like I feel like there's something bigger for me, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I, nothing's really coming from it, and I'm like, dude, that crazy attitude. Like, if you feel like you could be doing more, like, first of all, I get that, but second of all, is if your attitude is one of contraction, I feel like I'm stuck. Like, well, no wonder you're only selling 6 cars a month. No wonder you've arrived at a place where you feel like there's something more for you. Of course, there's something more for you. You deserve to have the best life that you could possibly conceive. But in order to do that, it requires the right attitude so that you can actually conceive something bigger than what you can see right now.
Totally.
Yeah. So where's this word come from?
Well, it's interesting too, on a side note, that in our office as well, in Grant's office, everybody's a client.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. It's like you were saying, right? So whether you've exchanged money for services with us or not, if you're in our funnel and at any level, you're a client.
Right.
And I think that approach is the most important piece.
Yeah.
So the origin, etymology, if you will, started around 1660s. It's a French term. It literally means disposition or posture. And then if you go back a little bit further, you get into Latin, meaning aptitude. And it was a technical term for the posture of a figure that was being sculpted or painted. And then it moved into dance. But as a sense of settled behavior, reflecting feeling or opinion, that was first recorded in 1837. So when it morphed into that attitude that we're talking about, that's relatively new.
Can it also apply to the attitude of, maybe I'm divulging my lack of, maybe I'm just being completely ignorant, like the attitude of an angle?
Like the direction?
Yeah.
I think so.
Not altitude, right? That's height, right. But like the attitude. It was pitched at a certain attitude.
Right. So, because I don't fly.
Yeah.
I mean, I fly, but I'm not the guy behind. So, but yeah, that may be correct.
Yeah. So which is interesting because, I mean, what's the attitude of your attitude?
Yeah. Right. What direction is your attitude going?
Yeah.
Are
you pitched up or are you pitched down?
Ooh, and I like to play on words with the pitch thing.
Oh, shucks. There you go.
Look at that. Look at what just happened.
That's why I love this. People that are skipping over Wednesday Word, not that they are, because they're getting downloaded and listened to like crazy. But if people are skipping over it, if you know somebody that's skipping over the Wednesday Word because you just think we're sitting here talking about a word, then you have sorely the wrong attitude.
And the last thing we should touch on, which I think is so important. So we've brushed over the idea that your attitude, it's the first step in a sales process, and it is the most important thing to start. And right. Grant talks a lot about that. If you want success in anything, it starts with that. It's your attitude, then your approach, how you do it, and then how much action you take. But those 3 things are synergistic to creating success. But the one thing that we tend to miss is that if you're going to take full responsibility for everything, if you're going to take full responsibility for the sale and not put it over on the customer, that means you are also responsible for their attitude. And so Grant's got this quote from his book, Sell or Be Sold. He says, Nothing will prove more valuable in life than a positive outlook. People will remember you not for how much money you made or for your success, but for how you handled life and how you made others feel.
Wow.
Your attitude and your ability to have a positive influence on the attitude of others will not only affect your sales, but every area of your life.
I love it.
Yeah. So if you're in sales, not only do you have to keep your attitude in check, but when you come across somebody who's got a bad attitude, it's on you to bring them up. You got to leave people better than the way you found them. And you have to recognize that enough to know that if you're not doing that, then there's something wrong with you. It's your attitude that's out now, not there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, further to that, just to add, because this sparked something that Grant said at 10X, which is, I don't want to be the only healthy person in a room full of sick people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You can't be the only healthy person in a room full of sick people. You're not going to get very far. There you go. That's the Wednesday Word with David Bradley from Cardone Solutions podcast. You can also check out cardonesolutions.net.
.com.
cardonesolutions.com. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of the Wednesday Word.